Welcome to Salud 365. Asterisk, there comes a moment in life when a person begins to wonder, not out of fear, but from quiet observation. Why do my legs feel heavier, even when I walk with purpose? Why do the stairs seem steeper, even though they haven't changed? Why does rising from a chair take more effort, even though the chair is the same? Perhaps you've asked yourself these questions. Perhaps you've done everything right. You eat what you believe is healthy. You move your body every day. You stretch, you rest. And still something within your body whispers that strength is slowly slipping away. Is it just age? Or is there something more subtle, more hidden, quietly shaping this decline? Asterisk, in my time, guiding others on their path, I've come to understand this. Not all detriment comes from carelessness. Sometimes harm doesn't come from what we neglect, but through what we trust to easily. What we welcome with open arms, never questioning. This is especially true with fruit. Yes, fruit. Throughout life, we're told that fruit is natural, nourishing, the very emblem of health itself. And in many ways, this is true. But for the aging body, the truth becomes more nuanced. Not all fruits are beneficial as we grow older. In fact, some of the fruits we enjoy most, eat weekly, even daily, may quietly be working against the strength of your legs, your joints, your ability to move freely. You may never suspect them. Their sweetness is familiar. Their appearance benign. Their reputation clean. But within can be a slow erosion. Asterisk, you see, as the body ages, it doesn't just simply weaken, it transforms. Metabolism slows. Circulation becomes more fragile. Joints are no longer as forgiving. And food that once nourished us in youth can now pain us in old age. Specifically, certain fruits. They may still taste sweet and fresh, but within them they carry natural acids, dense carbohydrates, and sugars that spike your blood levels, disrupting your insulin balance and stirring up inflammation in your joints. Asterisk, the ache doesn't come all at once. It comes slowly, quietly, like a gentle fog covering a valley, until you realize you haven't walked without pain in months. A heaviness in the calves after a short walk, a stiffness in the knees when getting out of bed, a fatigue in the thighs that lingers longer than it should. This is why I invite you now to look more deeply, not just asking what you are eating, but how it is being received by the body you now inhabit. It is not about fear, it is about awareness. It is not about renunciation, it is about discernment. Asterisk, today, I will share with you 7 fruits that I believe seniors, especially those over 60, should approach with caution. These fruits are not inherently bad, but in the context of aging joints, slowed circulation, and altered insulin response, they may no longer serve your strength. And once you see them clearly, your relationship with your fruit bowl may change forever. So, if you're still interested in the integrity of your steps, the lightness of your legs, and the ease in your movement, I ask you to walk with me a little further. Let us look honestly, yet gently. This might be the moment your body has long awaited. Not another pill, not another stretch, but a shift in nutrition. A shift in understanding. Let us begin not with fear, but with truth. Pineapple, sweetness. Hiding circulatory strain. Asterisk, first, let's talk about pineapple. It's yellow, aromatic, and crowned like royalty. For years, pineapple has been lauded for its anti-inflammatory compound, bromelain, a fruit revered in tropical medicine and modern nutrition. But what is often forgotten is that pineapple also contains potent acids and sharp sugars. These are not easily managed by the older body. As we age, our blood vessels become more delicate, more reactive. Sugar no longer quietly passes through us. It assaults. And pineapple, despite its many benefits, delivers a potent surge of sugar to the bloodstream. What does this mean for your legs? When blood sugar spikes suddenly, it stresses the tiniest blood vessels, especially those in the feet, calves, and thighs. Over time, this weakens circulation. Less oxygen reaches your muscles. Fatigue sets in. You might notice swelling in your ankles, a lingering ache in your shins, even after a simple walk, And this is just the beginning. Asterisk, as our journey continues, I invite you to reflect not only on what you eat, but on how your body responds subtly, quietly over time. You see, the body is a temple not of stone, but of breath and blood. Its strength is not fixed. It is lived, experienced, and constantly renewed or depleted. And when circulation weakens, as it often does with age, the legs are among the first parts to speak up. When blood no longer flows with youthful rhythm, the oxygen that once reached your muscles like a morning breeze now blows slowly, if at all. The result is a heaviness, a swelling, a fatigue that is not dramatic, but persistent. You will feel it after just a short walk, a lingering, not screaming, ache. You sit down and expect relief, but your knees stiffen. You stand again, and your ankles throb even when you are barely moving. It is not a failing. It is a signal, a request for us to listen more carefully. Asterisk, let's go back for a moment to pineapple. The golden fruit we've discussed. Its sweetness, while alluring, carries a sharpness, a hidden acidity that does not serve aging joints, especially for those living with inflammation or arthritis. The acids in pineapple act like wind on a fire. They don't soothe, they stir the flames. Some people have told me, after I eat pineapple, my legs feel heavier, as if the strength I once had is draining away. Perhaps you've noticed the same. Asterisk, bromelain in pineapple, yes, a helpful enzyme in certain contexts, can also interfere. With medications, especially blood thinners, it can quietly distort their effect, making them too potent or too weak. But here's what I find most insidious. Pineapple does not warn you. It does not announce its harm. There is no immediate sharp pain. Instead, it moves slowly, gently, like a tide eroding a coastline. And before you realize it, your legs don't carry you along as they once did. That is why knowledge is not fear, it is empowerment. It does not mean you must never enjoy pineapple again, but it does mean you become selective, mindful, especially if you experience unexplained leg pain or swelling. Reducing consumption can open the door to renewed ease. The harm may be modest, yes, but it is real. Asterisk, bananas, quick energy, lingering leg heaviness, asterisk, and if pineapple, hailed for its anti-inflammatory power, can pose a risk to aging legs. What about the next fruit? One that is soft, familiar, and lauded for its strength-giving potassium. Let us now talk about bananas. It is a fruit, often considered a friend to the body. Rich in potassium, good for muscles, helpful for energy, and against cramps. But for the older body, the story begins to change. Asterisk, bananas, while soft and easy to digest, are also high in natural sugars and fast-digesting carbohydrates. When your body receives that sugar surge, it reacts. Insulin rises, inflammation is triggered, and circulation is affected. What follows is not dramatic, but consistent. A feeling of heaviness in the legs after a meal. Calves that stiffen, resisting movement, a dull ache as you climb stairs. For some, bananas also increase water retention, and for those with heart conditions, this can subtly amplify. Swollen ankles, puffy feet, joints that feel tight, not pliable, while still believing you're doing something good for your muscles. That is the great irony. We eat bananas thinking it nourishes strength, while it may be softening the very solid foundation we rely on. Again, not immediately, but gradually, like leaves falling one by one from a tree. If you find your legs often tired, aching, or swollen, pause and consider the fruits you consume daily. Even something as seemingly benign as a banana may need to be re-evaluated. Asterisk. Grapes, fructoses, sweet deception for your joints. Asterisk. And what if the fruit is even smaller, more alluring, more innocent looking? Let's talk about grapes. They are small, sweet, and delightfully easy to eat. A handful here, a handful there. Grapes are known for their antioxidants, their heart benefits, but beneath that reputation lies something deeper, especially for those with aging joints. Grapes are rich in fructose, a sugar that bypasses the usual digestive pathways and goes straight to the liver. There, in excess, it converts to fat, and Uric acid. And when the liver cannot manage it all, uric acid accumulates in the joints. You might feel it in your big toe, a sharp sting at night. Or in your calves, that stiffness that comes uninvited. Ankles might swell, knees might ache. And all of this from a fruit you never questioned. Asterisk, this is the body's way. It teaches through sensation, through repetition, through stillness, and through awareness. We begin to understand not only what causes harm, but what allows us to heal. Stiffness, pressure, sluggishness. These are not merely signs of aging. They are whispers from within pointing us toward imbalance. Often they arise not through grand mistakes, but from what we consider harmless. Take grapes, for instance. They're small, easy to enjoy. In fact, so easy that we rarely count how many pass through our hands and into our bodies. One handful becomes another, 2 cups disappear without thought, and with them, sugar accumulates quietly, constantly. For the aging body, this subtle accumulation can diminish flexibility in the legs. Movements that once felt natural, then become uncomfortable. The lightness fades. Joints begin to resist rather than assist. Grapes, though sweet and gentle on the surface, carry within them the potential for stiffness, swelling, and discomfort. Asterisk so. If your legs are starting to ache more often, or feel increasingly heavy and immobile, pause and reflect. Consider which fruits have found a daily place on your plate. And know this, grapes are not alone. There are other equally appealing fruits that hold similar power to disrupt inner balance. Asterisk. Watermelon. Hydration's hidden inflammatory cost. Asterisk. One of them is a favorite, especially in warmer seasons. A fruit we associate with freshness, hydration, and cleansing. Now let us talk about watermelon. Watermelon feels like summer, light, juicy, harmless. Most people see it as nature's water. A sweet way to hydrate, low in calories, mild in flavor. But behind its gentle mask is a different nature. The glycemic index of watermelon is high, very high. That means it acts much like refined sugar in the bloodstream. It causes a sudden surge of blood sugar, forcing the body's insulin to react. For a younger person, this response may be manageable. But as we grow older, insulin regulation becomes less efficient. And what is the result? Inflammation. Especially in the areas where circulation is already fragile: your knees, your ankles, your calves. These are the areas that bear the brunt of every step we take, and when inflamed, they send us messages in the form of fatigue and discomfort. Asterisk, perhaps you feel it. A sense of heaviness right after a meal, dull aches after a short walk, or ankles that swell without explanation. A staircase that once felt easy now feels like a mountain. This is the quiet work of hidden sugar within something that tastes like water. That is why watermelon can be so misleading. You think you're hydrating while your legs quietly bear the cost. It's easy to overconsume. One slice becomes 2, becomes 3. Each seems harmless, but within each, sugar rises and your energy will drain slowly without drama, and inflammation begins. So, I ask, is watermelon truly nourishing you? Or is it slowly turning movement into effort? If your legs are starting to feel more tired, more swollen, and less free, perhaps it's time to reevaluate, not with guilt, but with clarity. Oranges, the immune boost with an acidic twist. Asterisk. Now, let's move to another fruit. This one is bright, cheerful, and often associated with health. Oranges. Oranges are everywhere. In breakfast, in vitamin drinks, in the promise of immunity. Their scent is uplifting. Their color cheerful. They contain vitamin C, which indeed supports the immune system. But within the orange lies a truth rarely spoken. Citric acid. For a younger body, it is tolerable. For an older body, it can be a mild irritant, especially for those who already carry inflammation or live with arthritis. That acid can stir discomfort. It might show up as a persistent ache in the hips, a sharp sensation in the knees after prolonged sitting, swelling in the legs that develops slowly day by day, morning joint stiffness that becomes harder to shake off. Asterisk. The orange does not warn you, but your body does. You just need to listen. Often, we attribute our leg discomfort to the natural aging process. We say, "This is just how things are now," but I invite you to look more closely. Sometimes what feels like the slow march of time is not just age, it is habit. And some of the best habits can be quietly undermining our health. Take for instance, the simple act of drinking orange juice in the morning. You might start your day with this bright, aromatic fruit, believing it's a gift to your health. After all, hasn't it always been associated with vitality, immunity, and energy? But what if I told you that this very common, this very symbol of nourishment, could be contributing to the very joint pain you wish to avoid? Oranges are rich in citric acid. That acid does not stay in the stomach. It enters the bloodstream where it can irritate tissues that are already delicate, especially in aging joints. When combined with the fruit's natural sugars, this combination can also spike blood sugar, making inflammation worse. What do we notice then? Swelling first in the knees, then in the ankles, the calves. A heaviness in every step. A pain that lingers after a long sit or flares up during a walk. It's not that oranges are harmful to everyone, but for those of us walking through later stages of life where circulation is slower and recovery takes longer, oranges can have a subtle cumulative effect, and that is the real danger. The belief that something is helping you when in fact it may be subtly wearing you down. Asterisk, green apples. Crispness, with a hidden bite for digestion and joints. Asterisk, that brings me to a fruit. One that appears even more innocent, green apples. They seem like the perfect choice. Crisp, clean, tart instead of sweet, and often marketed as the healthier apple. Many seniors opt for them, trusting their lower sugar content. But here too, we must look beyond appearances. Asterisks, green apples contain two factors that deserve attention: malic acid and natural sugars. Malic acid gives apples their characteristic tartness. While beneficial for a younger, more robust system, it can be irritating to an older digestive tract and inflammation-sensitive tissues, including joints. As we age, the gut lining thins. What once passed unnoticed can cause discomfort. Some older individuals have described hip pain or thigh soreness after eating a green apple. Others mention morning joint stiffness in their knees or a strange warmth in the soles of their feet. It doesn't strike all at once but builds slowly like a fog settling over the body. Asterisk, then there are the sugars. While green apples taste less sweet than red, they still contain enough natural sugar to cause a spike, especially in those with slowed metabolisms. This can lead to tired calves, nighttime cramps, and even weakness on stairs. And because green apples are often eaten raw, sometimes even before bed, their effects linger subtly overnight. What seems like a pure, clean fruit might actually be stirring discomfort within. The answer is not fear, it is awareness. We must learn to listen again, to choose not just what is beautiful or familiar, but what truly harmonizes with the body. We now inhabit, asterisk, mango. The sweet, tropical trap for mobility asterisk now. Let's consider one more fruit. Tropical, golden, and beloved by many. It's soft, aromatic, and almost dessert-like in its sweetness. I'm talking about mangoes. So many find joy in this fruit, especially in the warmth of summer. It feels comforting, yet natural. But that is precisely why we must look deeper. For those stepping into the later seasons of life, especially those struggling with aching joints or weakening legs, mango can be the most deceptive of all. Why? Because behind its soft texture hides a surge of natural sugars so potent that the body cannot always keep pace. This is not a gentle increase in sweetness. It's a wave, a flood of glucose that pours into your bloodstream faster than the aging body can process. If you are young, active, and metabolically resilient, this may not pose a problem. But after 60, the inner tides shift. Insulin, the body's messenger, surges rapidly, then crashes, and in that crash, inflammation is born. Not on the surface, but deep within the soft tissues of your joints, your knees, your hips, and your ankles. You might notice a burning sensation in your toes, a tingling in your feet that lingers, swelling in the evenings around your ankles. or that quiet feeling of heaviness in your legs, especially for those who already experience circulatory sensitivities. What makes mango particularly dangerous is its disguise. It does not look or feel like a heavy treat. It appears airy and clean, almost medicinal. That illusion makes it easy to overindulge. One slice becomes a whole fruit. One bowl becomes a habit. And each time the body absorbs more sugar than it can handle. The result is cumulative. Day by day, step by step, you may feel yourself slowing down, imperceptibly but steadily. You feel the joints are softer, the steps hesitant, the walks shorter. And yet, it was just a mango. So, I remind you that just because something is natural does not mean it is right for your body today. Our diet must change with age. Not from fear, but from respect. Fruits that nurture the aging body. Now you have seen a fuller picture. These 7 fruits, though often lauded for their health benefits, may have unseen consequences for those over 60. But here is where hope returns. There are other fruits, those that do not inflame but heal, that do not weaken but strengthen. Let us turn toward those. We begin with berries, blueberries, raspberries, blackberries. These small dark fruits are modest in size but potent in effect. Lower in sugar, higher in antioxidants, they are gentle on blood sugar and good for circulation. They soothe inflammation and support the flow of blood, especially in the legs. Stiffness lessens. Swelling decreases. Movement becomes easier. Next, consider cherries, but in moderation. A handful can help lower uric acid, thereby reducing gout, flares, and joint pain. That burning sensation in your knees or toes, that ache in your joints after a long day. Cherries can bring quiet relief. And then there's avocado. Yes, it is a fruit, and for joint health it may be among the best. Full of healthy fats, avocado cushions your joints, reduces inflammation from within, and helps regulate insulin. This means more stable energy, more balanced movement, and fewer spikes that wear the body down. Looking for something softer, easier to digest? Try papaya. Its natural enzymes soothe the digestive system and reduce inflammation. It is gentle, nourishing, and supportive of the older body. And do not forget pears. Mildly sweet, yet good for the body. When eaten with a little protein or fiber, they provide energy without disruption. They satisfy hunger, yet do not burden your legs. These are not merely foods. They are medicine in natural form. When chosen wisely, fruit can become a quiet ally in your journey towards strength, balance, and peace. When you pair these healing fruits with a little protein or fiber, they do more than nourish. They deliver a gentle sweetness, just enough to satisfy without overwhelming. They offer energy, not agitation. They support your legs, your balance, your breath. These are not merely foods. They are reminders of what it means to eat wisely. Unlike the others we've discussed, these fruits do not leave swelling or tightness. They bring vitality, calm, and a steady presence in the body. They support clarity, movement, and inner balance. Conclusion. Listen to your body. Act with awareness. But this journey is not just about fruit. It is about choosing what resonates with who you are now, not who you were years ago. The body changes. Its needs change, and so too must our choices. When you make decisions with presence, with care, you begin to feel the difference. Mornings come with more ease, steps feel lighter, breath comes deeper. The body, once burdened, begins to respond. Now I offer you this, a gentle invitation, not just to reflect, but to act. If you have read this far, I know something about you. You care. You want to move forward, not just grow older. You want to remain strong, steady, and free. That desire is sacred. Yes, aging brings challenges, stiffness, pain, perhaps fear. But do not let that fear define your path. You do not need drastic measures. You need awareness. One conscious choice, one peaceful meal, one fruit that truly serves you. The fruits we have spoken of are not your enemies. But not all of them are your allies anymore either, and that is okay. Growing older does not mean giving up. It means growing wiser. With every mindful bite, you rebuild strength. With every supportive food, you ease discomfort. This is not about restriction. It is about liberation. Now I gently ask you, what change will you make? What have you learned today? Your understanding might help another. We are not alone. We walk this path together. So stay mindful, stay strong. Let your footsteps be rooted in clarity, not confusion. And always remember, your strength does not come from force, it comes from flow. It comes from choosing peace, one meal at a time. Stay tuned to Salud 365 for more helpful health insights.